Okay, so today I'm going to show you how to take your rocket, which I guess I should probably open that up. So open recent, let's go missile rocket, here we go. So we'll take this, move it down a little bit. But today I'm going to show you how to make flames come out of this end here. Alright, so let's move to the second layer, so down here, or you can just hit M and then select layer 2. Or, yeah, so we'll just do that. Go into second layer. Excuse me. Sorry, I have a bit of a cold, so apologize. Hit 1 on your numpad. Hit, and then, yeah. Well, just so we can get the cursor back on there. You can actually go snap to grid, so you can go object, snap, and then snap cursor to grid. I think you can actually snap cursor to center. There we go. So it's in the center. Alright, now I want to go Shift A and add a plane. And then we're going to hit Tab to go into edit mode. We're going to unwrap that. And we're going to go into UV editing. And we're going to go into image, open image, and we're going to open an image of fire. I used an image, excuse me, I used an image from another video thing that I was doing. It's a flash of an AR-15 or M16. It's a muzzle flash. So I'm going to use that. I think it'll look decent for a rocket trail for the flame for it. Alright, so we can get out of UV editing, go back to default. We can switch this to textured. And let's zoom in a little bit so we can actually see kind of what we're doing. Alrighty. Alright, so now let's go a new texture. Let's take the intensity down. Let's go over to texture. Sorry, that was a material. So new material, bring your specular intensity all the way down. And we want a new texture. So I bring in a new texture. And with this, we go clouds. We go, no, we want an image or movie. So it goes image or movie. Click on show alpha. Click on this generated thing down here. Move that to UV. Alrighty. So we want to select alpha there, and it still shows up as a black square. However, that could also be because there's no lights in this scene. So let's add a lamp. We're not going to need the lamps later on, so but we just want one right now for reference and whatnot. So zoomed in on, okay, zoom it out. Okay, that's actually pretty good placement. So we'll leave that there. Render image, it's still showing up as nada. Alright. Yes. Image. We have to select rocket. There we go. And now it's showing up as that. What I did is I clicked on Z transparency and dropped the alpha. Now that might just do it in the render, it might not work in the game engine. So let's go to Blender Game and hit P, and voila, it does not work. So I'm still gonna have to hack this out a little bit. So under this sRGB thing or whatever, click on use alpha and that will do it. So show alpha, use alpha, click all this stuff. This is in the texture tab. So yeah, probably cut out a bunch of me trying stuff and it just didn't work, so I just clicked on that. Also, we're going to want to go over here and go GLSL, which will probably automatically make that work. Which kind of gets me angry now that I know that, or I suspect that. Let's see, use alpha, and oh, well, actually, No, you still need to check it, otherwise it looks all funny. So, alright, so over here in the scene tab, no, what is this? This is the render tab. In the render tab, click on GLSL. And that way, you know, your game will render out more properly. Yeah, I just said more properly. Okay, so let's hit number 3 on the numpad. And we're going to go tab into edit mode, and make sure you're in edit mode for this part. And hit Shift D, and we'll duplicate this plane. We'll leave it right where it is, and hit R for rotate, X for the X-axis, and then you're going to type 180. Boom, done. Now you got it on both sides. Okay? So, another thing that we're going to want to do, hit A on that, actually tab to go into object mode. We're going to go here and we're going to click shadeless. We don't want this thing to have any shading because it's producing light, or faux producing light, so we don't want it to have any shades or shading going on. Okay, so materials tab and shadeless. Now, what we want to do is go back into tab. We're going to hit A once, or into edit mode. We're going to hit A once to deselect, A again to select everything in there, so it's both sides of the plane. We're going to hit Shift D again, and we're going to rotate on the X-axis, and we're going to do it at an angle, like so. And then we're going to do it again, Shift D on the X-axis, X-axis, oh sorry, R for rotate on the X-axis. Yep. Alright, Shift D, R, X, and again. Okay, and then we hit Tab, and what you can see when we click off of it is that it's creating a three-dimensional image of sorts. Right. So that's what we're looking for. So when you, so when you go into the game, that's what you're going to see, is a three-dimensional version of this flame. Now you could just take this, put it on the end of the rocket, call it a day. However, I suggest that you make it a bit more animated and a bit more worth your viewers' while. So what we're going to do here is in object mode. Now we want to hit Shift D on the X. We're going to move that right there. And then we're going to do another one as well. Shift D on the X. We're going to bring it up front here. You can do that however you want. You can put them this way or that way. It doesn't really matter. What we're going to do is click on the first one here, and we're going to go to this cube for the properties plane. I believe that's it, right? Object, the object, data, whatever. We'll call it Flame 1. All right, and then we're going to go to this one here. We're going to call this Flame 2. And then we're going to go to this one, and we're going to call it Flame 3. Okay. So, okay, the others, okay, apparently you have to hit enter. So we're going to hit Flame 1, enter. Flame 2, enter. And then Flame 3 actually worked properly. Okay, so those are all set up. What we're going to do now is we're going to go into game logic controller. And for each of these, we're going to add an always, and we're going to add a motion, and we're going to change. We're going to have the rotation at 10 degrees, and I will explain that. The reasoning. Well, actually, I guess I can explain it while I'm doing this. So, what this is doing is it's going to be spinning it, so it creates more of a motion behind it, and it's not just like a stagnant image. You know, it's just doing nothing. Okay, that was actually a lot simpler than I thought it was going to be. I thought that was going to be like a complicated explanation, but apparently it took less than like 10 seconds. Wow. Yep, I am sick. All right, so we're going to go back to oh, interesting. Okay. I thought we were on the first plane. Okay, so somehow we moved all this stuff. So what you can do to move things on other planes, just in case you're wondering. So here's your planes, like how many planes you get. You have like a whole bunch of them here. Alright, so we want the rocket to be on the first plane, we want the pane or whatever it's called, and then we want the, or layer, sorry, layers. So we want the rocket to be on the first layer, and we want the fire to be on the second layer. Somehow I got these all mixed up and moved around and whatnot. So what you do is you just highlight the first, or your object you want to move, you hit M, and then you just select the layer you want it to go to. It's pretty simple stuff. Cool, cool. Now it kind of looks like, let's make this textured. It kind of looks like I'm going to have to rotate this. So let's rotate this. Rotate it on the Z-axis. Let's go 90 degrees. Okay, and we're going to just put it so it's easily accessible to the camera. Yada, yada, yada. Actually, we're going to scale this down because that's a pretty giantous rocket. And what we're going to do is we're going to place our crosshairs right at the end of this rocket. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go Shift A and we're going to add an empty. Okay, and just plain axes, that's fine. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go Shift and right click onto the rocket. We're going to hit P because that'll play the animation thing, whatever. What I meant to say is Control P, and we're going to go to Object. So what you're doing is you're parenting the empty to the rocket. Now we're going to click back on the empty. We're going to add a game property. This is going to be called counter, and we're going to make it an integer, and we're going to set that to 3 because we have 3 different flames that we're going to use. Okay, now we're going to add, and we're going to add always. We're going to set that to true, frequency to 10, and we're going to add. We're going to add a property. We're going to add, so we're going to add to counter -1. So this is our countdown counter. It's going to be counting the, because it starts off at 3. You have a property that starts off at 3, which is counter. This is going to make counter 2 the next time it goes through it. So, dun, 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 dun. So that's always true. Now we have another sensor. This is going to be a property. This is going to be a counter when counter is equal, because there's an equal thing here. When counter is equal to 3. And then we're going to do, what? What are we going to do? We're going to do edit object. And we're going to do flame 1. So it's going to add flame 1. We're going to have this on here for 30 frames. Okay. And it's going to have a linear velocity of, let's say, 0.5. That might be too much. It might be too little. I don't really know. So we add object, 30 frames. Looks good to me. All right. Then we add another property. This one's going to be counter equal to 2, and we're going to add another edit object. This is going to be flame 2. Connect those. It's going to be 30 frames, which is probably like 1 second, depending on if you're doing it at 60 seconds and it's half a second, or 60 frames per second. It depends on your frame rate. So we'll do 0.5 again on that, because the flames are coming out on the positive. Geez, so small. That is huge. All right, the flames are coming out on the positive x-axis here. See that little red arrow? Positive x-axis. So we want them moving in that direction ever so slightly. Okay. Also, in this middle one here, I'm just going to scale that one up a little bit, and I'll give it a bit of variance between the 3 of them. Alright, so let's go back to this empty, click on that, And so that's the second one. That's all done. Let's minimize these guys. Let's go add another property. This one will be counter, and it's equal to 1. And we can minimize these. And this is edit object. 3 frames again. We'll do frame 3, and we'll do 0.5. Okay. Then we need to add another property on the end of this one. If I can find property. All right, there we go. And excuse me. This one, so it goes through. It's like, okay, yay, you know, number 1, blah blah blah, it does that. But then what? It goes up and it minuses out number 1, you know, to 0. Well, it can't really go anywhere else. So we're going to assign counter back to 3 before it hits 0. So that way it can continue and loop. Basically what we're doing with these two properties here is we're creating a loop. So it's always going to -1, and it's going to keep on going from 3 down to 1. When it hits 1, then it's going to go back to 3, and it'll just keep on going and going and going and going and going. So yeah, that's how you create an infinite loop in Blender. In case you were wondering, you want to crash someone with 3D graphics. Okay, so I guess let's hit P and see what happens. And there it is. It's really super tiny. So let's go over to, actually, let's just bring the rocket down because it still is huge. Scale it down a little bit, bring it over here a little bit. Okay. Oh, one thing I did forget to do. All right. So let's take this and let's scale on the X and bring it out a little bit. And same with this one, scale on the X, bring it out a little bit. Scale on X, bring it out a little bit. And then go back here. So, yeah. Just there. What you can do if you want, sorry, the ratios here are all over the place. So what you can do is, as you can see, it's inside the rocket almost. You can just move this empty out, and there it is. So there you go. Now for this, I don't know if this was yeah, I don't think this was the one that I had that was textured. So sorry, you can't actually see the rocket with the textures on it and whatnot. But that's how you make a flame for a rocket or a missile in the Blender game engine. I'll probably do another one for, like, you know, movies or videos or whatever too, but this is a very low poly missile or rocket, so it would probably not be beneficial to use this particular model for that. I think I'll go through the whole game series and then do something for video production stuff. All right, so thanks for watching this. If you found this helpful at all, I'm sorry it was so long, but there was quite a bit to do. So if you did like it, please like it, or, you know, check mark it or whatever you do on YouTube, I guess. Subscribe to our channel, check out our Facebook page, you know, look at all our videos. Cool. All right, thanks. Look forward to hearing from you.